Can you truly put your hand up and say that I have never killed? I'm not talking about human beings. I don't think there's a single soul in this room that is entirely innocent of killing, taking another's life. How many mosquitoes would you have swallowed? And then when you have a rodent or rat infestation, either I'm out or they're out, and it's never I'm out, right? This is my house. I built it. It's my place. And this place ain't too big enough for the two of us. You say to the rats, you say to the cockroaches. You don't cohabit with them. You stay means they have to go. So first you try asking them nicely, Mr. Ratty, please will you leave me in peace? But if they start getting into your cupboards, into your drawers, eating your biscuits and your cakes and your puddings and your clothes and various other precious items that you have bought for yourself, earned for yourself, then if they don't learn a lesson, you have to teach them a lesson the hard way. A lesson that they shall never forget. How can they forget? Because they're gone. They're dead. We think that we have the right to enjoy happiness in our life. We think that we have the right to take another's. For some reason, we human beings seem to think that we have the right to do that. If they make your life inconvenient, then you can kill them. It's not just about chasing them away. You can kill them. Just think about that. What right we have to think like that? Do you remember when a mosquito landed on your arm, leg, wherever, some part of your body? You only looked at it after you did what? Yes. So you will only have seen a dead mosquito most of the time on your body. Because you thought it was only right. It's sucking my blood, right? How dare it? No permission was granted. It's sucking my blood, so I have every right to kill it. Perhaps today you don't do this. You simply chase it away. Even if it comes round and bites you 100 times, you'll still chase it away. Or maybe you'll try and catch it and take it outside and leave it out. Maybe you'll net your windows and doors so that they don't come in, right? Perhaps you have some measures to deter them from coming in. But just go back a few years, maybe a good few years, we are all guilty of that. Who here can say that I have never killed a mosquito? Because that is what we were taught to do. We saw others do it. We saw our elders do it. We saw our friends do it. We saw it done on TV. So it was okay to do that. Taking the life of another seemed like a very normal thing to do. Because we thought it was fair and square. This is a battle between me and the mosquito. The strongest has to win. So if they were small enough for you to squash them, then that is what you did. How many cockroaches have you killed? How many mosquitoes have you killed? How many flies have you swatted? These are all murders, not human murders, but that's your count. We all have a count. And we must not think, ladies and gentlemen, that these sins will be easily forgiven. Because if pranagahata, the volition of taking another life arises in your mind, then that is a sin that you have committed. It is registered in the universe somewhere. What you give is what you get. And it doesn't matter whether you were an adult or whether you were a child. If you knew that you were killing, then that was killing. All you had to do was to have the intention to take a knife. If you had that intention, then that was done. Sometimes kids, when they go out and play, which is not something that happens very often today because kids don't go out and play today, right? They play on their video games. But those days when kids used to go out and play and you have earthworms and things like that, like you want to experiment. And they don't understand that taking a life is taking a life. The size of that life does not matter. Because what is the size of life? Is there such a thing called the size of a life? Are you a big life and a kitten a small life somehow? Life is life. So along these lines, you will also ask me, Swami, so then what about, is it not better to be a vegetarian? Although we don't kill, we are responsible for their deaths. Whether you choose to be a vegetarian or not is your choice. That's a very personal choice. Even when the proposition was made to the Buddha as to whether monks should henceforth become vegetarians, even at that point the Buddha said, no, let them choose. See, it is about his own monks, he said this, not about the lay community. He said if monks should choose to be vegetarians, then let them be. And if they choose not to, then let them be. That was his decision on that. Because what he said was, it is not about whether you eat meat or not. It's about whether you take a life. To take a life is sin. To eat what is already dead, that is not a sin. But for health reasons or for whatever other reasons, maybe for environmental reasons, right? If you feel that it is unfair that one must eat another, right? If you feel that way, then of course it's down to personal choice. So that is not what I'm talking about. Excuse me. That is not what I'm talking about. And it is not a discussion about whether you should become a vegetarian or remain a non-vegetarian or whatever. That's your personal choice. And it has really nothing to do with sins or unmeritorious deeds. But if you are the one who takes a life and then serves it to another, the sin is not in eating it, but the sin is in what? Killing. So please make sure that for whatever reason, you're not the one who has to take a life. For whatever reason, you don't find yourself taking a life.